in such societies, any contribution is good. I mean, as architects, we can't solve much. You know, we're not societal doctors. And I think what Aravena is trying to prove is that by small gestures, we may not be doctors, but maybe we're nurses. Maybe we can't make the patient not sick, but maybe we can make the patient more comfortable. The German-Egyptian archaeological team had been excavating in Naga for more than 20 years, I think. They approached us and said, would we help them think about some building which could mark the place? We agreed, and we went to look at the site, and it's an extraordinary excavation in a very extraordinary place, more isolated than I could imagine, north of Khartoum, through the desert, behind the escarpment separating the Nile. And they've been excavating Ptolemaic Egyptian city. So they needed some things, a place to protect the objects which they excavate, and maybe this place which could be protective could also exhibit, like a sort of lapidarium, these objects. So they could protect them from weather and from theft, and also maybe if people were going to go to the excavation and look at it, it could be like an exhibition in a very modest way. The site is a UNESCO site, and so we tried to think about how could you build a building in such a place. The building has a practical dimension and in some ways a symbolic, to remind people of where their culture came from and how deep their culture is, because this is maybe underestimated in a place like Khartoum. The funny thing, of course, is that the climate and the conditions are common 2,000 years ago and now. Nothing changes. The heat is the same, the wind is the same, the extreme conditions between hot and cold are the same. From a physical point of view, the climate and these things gave us considerations which were very similar to the ones which made the original buildings. The corrosive and erosive nature forced us to make a building which was of substance. Secondly, we realized that when you drive for 3 hours and arrive in this place, it would be very nice that you could understand the excavation. Because the excavations are not so big. I mean, they're more horizontal. So we started with the idea that we would make a platform where the visitor would walk looking at all the objects, and finally the last object is the landscape, is the archaeological exhibit. And we decided not to be embarrassed to make a rather Egyptian building, I suppose. You know, a building which assumed more engagement with the history as opposed to being explicitly of another time.